And if he can galvanize this sort of argument, he's going to get more people than just young folks to listen to this.
Bernie Sanders is making his case for democratic socialism this week in a new speech to voters. Now, he did this back in 2016, but this time he's also going to be contrasting himself against Donald Trump, who he says also supports socialism, just a different kind of socialism. So, as Newsweek reported, Bernie Sanders to say Donald Trump loves socialism, just not for the working class. Quote, while President Trump and his fellow oligarchs attack us for our support of democratic socialism, they don't really oppose all forms of socialism. They may hate democratic socialism because it benefits working people, but they absolutely love corporate socialism that enriches Trump and other billionaires, Sanders will tell the crowd. Now, in short, I think this is brilliant, but I'll discuss more of my thoughts after I show a clip right here of Charles Payne, a Fox News contributor, who thinks that what Bernie is doing here is compelling.
I'm the grandfather or the godfather of this stuff, right? Because it's a lot of his presidential rivals have cherry-picked at parts of his plan, right? So somewhat Medicare for all, somewhat universal basic income, somewhat different parts of it, but very few of them are stepping up to the plate and just saying, hey, yeah, democratic socialism. So they're trying to have their cake and eat it too. I think Bernie's trying to put them on notice at a time where, he's starting to fade just a little bit in a bigger democratic picture. I think what's going to be really compelling potentially about this speech is when he talks about corporate socialism, which he says is going on right now with President Trump, because I think one thing that resonates with a lot of people, forgetting about political identity for a moment, the big Wall Street bank bailout. Did we really, truly need that? I mean, everyone watching this show right now, when they make mistakes in their lives, they pay for it, right? They lose their homes. They lose their jobs. They lose the college fund. That's going to resonate if he can make some sort of connection. The carried interest for billionaire hedge fund managers, why do they pay such low taxes? Now, they argue why. Many people think, though, no one's ever really taken us on because they have so much money, so much power. It makes a lot of people angry. I don't care what political party.
Could that win over the younger voters? That he's
not just younger, but older. Anyone who's paying taxes, saying, well, why would a billionaire who has private jets, which, by the way, also get tax breaks, need a lower tax rate?
His ideas will cost how many trillions of dollars?
Oh, I'm not advocating for the ideas. What I am saying, though, is that if he presents it in a certain way, it's going to resonate with more people. There was a recent Harris poll that said 40% of Americans prefer socialism over capitalism already, and it was 47% of women. So, this is something I take very seriously because there are certainly, things that we can do better in this country. And if he can galvanize this sort of argument, he's going to get more people than just young folks to listen to this. So it's something that
Medicare
we can't just
Green New Deal, free college.
We can't slough it off because we know the economic damage, but I also felt that there would be a certain amount of economic damage by other previous presidential candidates, and they were voted in. So,
welcome, comrade Charles Payne. It's good to have you. This was an incredible segment. I mean, everything from what Payne was saying to how the host was reacting. The host freaking out, but Charles, how many trillions of dollars is it going to cost? I mean, I'm going to play that clip again, that little piece, because that was just incredibly enjoyable.
But Charles, his ideas will cost how many trillions of dollars? How many trillions of dollars?
I mean, I love it. I love to see it. They're freaking out because they know that Charles is right. You can't justify the bank bailouts. Actually, I'm going to show you in a second as well that Bernie is going after that as one of the aspects of this platform. He's being vocal about that on Twitter as well. But first, so Charles appeared to cite a poll here saying that almost half of female voters support socialism. I'm not sure what poll he's citing, but the poll that I saw, a recent poll from Axios on HBO, shows that 55% of women prefer socialism. And actually, in that same poll, 4 in 10 Americans overall say they would prefer living in a socialist country over a capitalist one. This system is not working for people. I mean, just to saying the words, but Charles, Medicare for all, Green New Deal. That's not an argument. Do you have an argument for why the wealthiest people in the country keep making more and more and more while everyone else is getting screwed? Do you have an argument for why people can go can go bankrupt because they can't afford health care. Do you have an argument for that? So what Bernie is offering is an actual solution here. And all he's offering is social democracy. I mean, this is not full-blown socialism. This is not workers controlling the means of production in every aspect of life. This is simply offering things like Medicare for all that the vast majority of other countries already have. These aren't crazy ideas. Now, the one part of Bernie's strategy here that I think is so completely brilliant is showing that Donald Trump and the Republicans are also for socialism, but socialism for the wealthiest. I mean, the bank bailouts is a perfect example of that. So let me show you a tweet that he recently responded to that is showcasing Bernie's fight here. So this tweet went out saying, JPM's Diamond makes the case against socialism at Biz Roundtable this AM. Quote, socialism means that the government owns and controls companies, he says, and uses them for political purposes, for jobs and votes. Not the same definition Bernie Sanders has been using. But Bernie quote tweets that saying, I didn't hear Jamie Dimon criticizing socialism when Wall Street begged for the largest federal bailout in American history, some $700 billion from the Treasury and even more from the Fed. So this is just showcasing one aspect of Bernie's fight here. He names names, showcases who or what the problem is and who to blame. This is why Bernie stands out from the other candidates. It's not just, this general criticism of, it's not fair that billionaires are making more money or that corporations are not paying people properly. No, he calls out Jamie Dimon. He goes to Walmart, goes to Amazon, calls out these companies directly and gets results because of it. Now, let me show you actually another tweet that went out here that Bernie responded to, showing that I think he's really sort of turning a page here and willing to be more aggressive than he usually is on these issues. So this tweet went out saying, McConnell, as long as I'm Senate leader, Democrats' socialist schemes won't become law. Bernie quote tweets that saying, you've got 18 months left. So this is the fight the Democratic Party needs to take up. I mean, this is the fight that they've needed to have all these years. They kept losing seats under Nancy Pelosi and Barack Obama because they kept capitulating to conservative talking points, to conservative positions on policy. Here is Bernie doing the opposite, actually fighting for real progressive positions, fighting for actual voters. And this is also, he's also echoing MLK's famous words. So the idea that the U.S. has socialism for the rich and rugged individualism for the poor. So that's an MLK quote. And Bernie is also utilizing that clearly in his platform and in his speeches here. Now, there's multiple aspects to this. There's the part going after Trump, showcasing how Trump is socialist for the rich. The part about MLK and adopting that kind of platform for showing that you can have a government that works for the people and not just for the rich. And then on top of that, he also has the FDR angle. So as Newsweek reports, in his speech on Wednesday, Sanders aims to explain what democratic socialism means to me, the senator told Politico earlier this week. He will also argue that democratic socialism is the unfinished business of Franklin Delano Roosevelt's New Deal. Sanders will make the case that housing, employment, healthcare, education, and more are certain guaranteed rights that all Americans should have. So this is the, I guess, third aspect of Bernie's platform here and his speech. It's extending what FDR did, basically continuing FDR's plan and actually forming a government that works for the people and going after the powerful and showcasing their greed and the need to address that greed in order to actually help the rest of Americans. I mean, Bernie's talked about the stat over and over again, and it's worth pointing out over and over and over again that 3 people or 3 families, actually, I think it may just be 3 people, in the entire country have more wealth than the bottom half of the country. 3 people have more wealth than the bottom half. You can't justify that. Attacking it with but Medicare for all, but the Green New Deal. I think people are a little smarter than that. I know there are a lot of people out there that, are brainwashed or don't know any better, are just misinformed. But if Bernie continues making this case on how socialism already exists, but it exists for the rich, if he continues making the case that, yeah, socialism is scary if it's working for the richest people and the largest companies, but it's not scary if it's working for the people, I think when you are convincing a Fox News host, I think it shows you that there's a real argument to be made there that can convince a lot of voters.